and you're just quiet. Because inside you're dealing with death, with absence, a pain so deep it changes everything. Your world got shaken so deeply that all those things feel small now. The gap starts to grow. You've aged without meaning to. After losing a parent, the small things don't hit the same anymore. You start to see life differently, feel it differently. You've grown older, quieter, and wiser. Not on purpose, but just by what you've had to carry. Hi, I'm Lina, and this is the fourth episode of my series, What No One Tells You About Losing a Parent Young. And today I want to talk about something that's a bit hard to explain if you haven't lived through it. It's how grief, especially early grief, forces you to grow up fast. Not just practically, but emotionally and spiritually. You start carrying a quiet sadness that reshapes how you move through the world. Before my parents died, I didn't realize how much I relied on them. Not practically or for support, but this invisible feeling of safety. That feeling that if everything would fall apart or everything would get stuck, I could go home. They would be there to catch me. And when they were gone, that safety net disappeared. And I realized there's no one left to catch me if I fall. You become the person who has to figure it out. Even when you're grieving, you're in pain, you're feeling weak, you're unsure. Something that changes after loss is what you care about. Your entire value system gets shaken awake. Suddenly, what people think of you doesn't matter anymore. Success, status, appearance, they're all not that important. They become thinner. You just want to live a life that feels real, that feels true to you. You want to live a life close to your heart. Grief makes you realize how short this time here really is. Once you've sat with death, it becomes impossible to ignore life. A big shift after loss is that you start to see clearly what matters. Life becomes urgent. You start asking the bigger questions. Like, what do I want to do with my life? Who do I want in my life? And what really matters to me? What do I want? You start choosing what's meaningful to you over what's expected of you by others. Grief changes your priorities. But grief doesn't just change how you feel, it also changes how you relate to others. When you've been through something this painful, you start to see other people differently. You start to see their pain. You can really see them now. You hear the pain in their voice or in their eyes, or you notice the little silences. You feel things more deeply than before. Not just sadness, but also awe, happiness, gratefulness, beauty, fear. You know the heaviness of real pain, and it changes you. You feel things more deeply, but you also understand others more deeply. And this is one of the quiet gifts of grief. You become more empathic. You don't need people to explain their pain, you can feel it. Whether someone is older, younger, or going through a completely different kind of loss, you can be there with their pain because you've been there. You know that place. I think grief makes you less judgmental too, more tender. You learn how to sit with someone, not fix them, but just be there with them. And that's something the world needs more of. When you lose your parents young, you have to grow into that role that they once held for you. You become your own anchor, and that's heavy, especially when you're still in a lot of pain. You're figuring out life, how to grieve, and who you are, all at the same time. And while that can feel incredibly lonely, it also reveals just how strong you are. If you've been forced to grow up fast, if you're carrying this quiet heaviness too, I see you, truly. There's nothing wrong with you if you feel older than your friends, more tired, or out of sync. Grief gave you a kind of wisdom that not everyone understands. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to feel. and you're doing better than you think.